are geek-centric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Geek-Centric Podcast, and welcome to our special Behind the Geeks episode for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. My name is Nate, and if you're joining us for the first time, we are Geek-Centric, a podcast focusing on the world of movies, TV shows, video games, and all things geek-centric. Joining me for today's rebellious episode, he's here in signature Zack Snyder slow motion. He's Justin, the Lunar Lovin' Lawrence.
How are you? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good, man. I'm stoked to talk to you about this one, and this is a very special Behind the Geeks episode, as it marks Geek-Centric's first ever Hollywood premiere, which is not something I thought we were going to say this early on in the trajectory of Geek-Centric, of the company. But Justin, I've been waiting for a long time to talk to you about this. I was following your journey to LA through our socials and seeing everything you got up to. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. I want you to let me take me and our listeners on a journey. What was this like, your first Hollywood premiere?
Well, yeah, this is huge for Geek-Centric. Being asked to attend a Hollywood premiere in LA at the Chinese Theater. This was such a surreal experience, and it was great because I think the same experience for all the Canadians that joined. There was two others. Shabazz from the Movie Podcasts, and Andrew Powell, who runs The Gate, a online blog. And we were talking about how we got this email, and it was just literally an itinerary with no request. And we were like, well, why are we getting the LA itinerary? And then it follows up with from the PR team, well, we wanted to invite you to LA. And I know when I shared it with you, we were shocked, and I didn't think that we would end 2023 with our first opportunity to see a Hollywood premiere, but here we are at the close of 2023 and having done this experience. But it was a really quick day. Like, I literally left Toronto at 8 a.m. and arrived at just after 12 in LA Pacific time. And it was go to the hotel, chill there, get stuff together for the next day, which would be interviews. But go to the premiere.
Let's start with the premiere, though. Chinese Theater.
Yeah, it was
in Hollywood.
It was beautiful. Like, it's everything that you would imagine. They have a lot of great little photos around in the area. The acoustics is really good. Everything feels like it's booming. The screen's gorgeous. But just the history, the architecture, what the Chinese theater is known for in the Hollywood staple. That was like me fanboying for sure. Like, I was like a tourist, a movie tourist.
That was the first fanboy.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first of many, because for sure, even just arriving at the hotel was like, whoa, I'm in Beverly Hills. This is wild. But yeah, the premiere, we went in a separate way versus the red carpet. So we went in and we found our seats.
Did they let you keep your phone? What's the rules there? Did they put your phone in a bag, this mysterious bag that we've all heard
No.
of?
It wasn't that that tight. They actually let us keep our phones. They did obviously state the obvious. Don't record
the premiere, right?
Don't while the movie's playing, right? But
of course,
to open up the movie, Zack Snyder came out with I'm not sure what they're called. I'm going to call them the Motherworld guards.
They look creepy with those masks.
Yeah, they were all over the red carpet and then the after party as well. But yeah, they escorted Zack Snyder and his producing partner Deborah Snyder and the head of Netflix as well out. They did their thank yous and applauding everyone for the hard work, because definitely you can see that there was a lot of hard work in terms of bringing this movie to life. So yeah, it was great to have that sentiment to kind of kick off this movie.
And then the after party.
Yeah,
what was that like?
Well, the after party was a lot of fun. It was actually on Hollywood Boulevard, so they turned the red carpet, what was the red carpet, into the after party portion.
Wow.
It was great. There was the whole cast was there. They were very accessible. There's fans there as well. So there's a lot of people, the entire cast just, getting photos and stuff like that. But I saw Ray Fisher as I was going to the bathroom. And
Yeah.
I was just like, hey man, you were great in the movie. Right. So it was cool just how accessible and how approachable everyone was. Certain people, I think, obviously had people around them to obviously control the flow of people interacting, but to see a lot of these people just so up close and be able to interact with them, it was pretty cool. It was amazing.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
surreal.
dope. And it wasn't just the cast and Zack Snyder and stuff. You also got to make some new friends, some friends in the industry that maybe we've tweeted with back and forth.
Yeah, even just someone that I followed is Brandon Davis. I said to you before I left, if I see Brandon Davis, I'm gonna say hello.
You
And
manifested.
sure enough, he was there, and he was super cool. Shay from the movie podcast and I we chatted his ear off a little bit, and we talked about this movie. We talked about coverage in general, covering things. His busy schedule, his wrestling, his next forte into wrestling, and what that looks like. And hopefully we can invite him on if he has time. He's super busy, but it would be great to have him on the podcast to learn a little more insight, because he's super busy. And I meant what I said to him. I said, like, a lot of what he does is such an inspiration to myself. In the level of comfort and having an approachability and understanding how to asking the right questions in the moment, and it just feeling so natural, right? He really is a beacon of that. So
also, I wanted to just quickly jump in and did there was a really fancy. It looked like you were in the movie. Were you in the? Were you in this movie? What happened? There was something posted.
No, they had a activation set up at the after party. It was in a van, and I think if anyone was familiar, in Brazil, when Rebel Moon was there doing their big promo stuff, they had a set, and they would have people come in, and Zack Snyder was directing them, and it was shot with a cinematic camera, and they had like a digital screen as like a backdrop and props and elements to help kind of build out a world. They brought that to the after party and sort of inserted it in this big van. And you got to go in, you get to dress up.
That was in a van.
Yeah, it was in a huge van. Like, it's like almost like a bus, I guess, more so or less, right? Because I was able to fit in it, but it wasn't long, right? But it was tall. And it was wild. It was absolutely crazy. Like they had a cinematic camera with an anamorphic lens on it. What's crazy is that what I have posted in my stories, which you can check out on my Instagram at Hello I'm J-Law. But you can check it out there. But it's they give you a 9:16. So it's a vertical cut. But when you see the like widescreen anamorphic cinematic, it's breathtaking. Like,
so cool.
The quality, and given also the fact that this is done on a controlled set with controlled lighting, a digital screen as a background, it's fantastic. So that was such a cool activation that they had, a little pop-up that they had at this after party that really, like, I saw everyone. Like, I saw Soups was there. I saw him in line to do it, and he got it done, and it was great. I saw Straw Hat Goofy as well doing it as well, and he was at the after party as well. So it was such a wild time to be doing the same thing that these people that I follow and I was seeing later do. It was wild. It was such a cool time.
That's so cool. Listen, if you haven't already checked it out, I mean, maybe you can repost it to the We Are Geekcentric.
It's all there too. It's actually
Instagram
there too.
well. Perfect.
I've put it on as a highlight reel, as a highlight.
Go check it out. It looks like he's in the movie. It's so cool.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely link it in the description too. So yeah, the after party, we didn't stay too late. At this point, we rolled in around 10. We left around like 12:30 or so. It's about 2.5 hours.
And I saw you were getting into other people's posts as well.
Yeah,
I was like sort of looking up the event and like searching. I just see tall Justin in different areas, that's the side of your head, or
that's what Brandon Davis was saying. He was saying, Liam's tall. Liam Cowell's extremely tall.
Yeah.
But he's like, there's not many people in this industry that are tall. Then he looks at me and he's like, but you're pushing it, man. You're like right there with me. So, which was pretty cool because I am pretty tall. I did see my head bobbing around in people's footage, and I made a friend at the seats in the theater.
Okay.
Her name is Crystal. She was an absolute delight. It was just her and I in this row. And we just, shot the shit and just got to know each other. And I learned a lot about her. She learned a lot about me. And, I talked about my family. I talked about, this experience and, being Canadian. And she told me about her career and her path. And it was really great. Like, so cool to just, to make a friend on this
peer
journey.
in the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially on this scale.
And I'm very grateful also for the time I had with Shay and with Andrew Powell. They were both really, really friendly and very helpful, obviously not knowing the ins and outs. And if I had questions, I would just be like, so what do you do in this situation like this? Or, how does this work? And, it was really nice to have that and just to get to know Shay more. And in a lot of ways, it was a really cool experience.
Very cool. Well, so then you got back to the hotel, you were wasted. You called me in a panic. You said, I don't know what to ask anyone. Oh, what do I do?
No, come on. Come on. Like, okay. So obviously going into this, I was like, I want to come up with questions that we could focus and ask all the groups, all the pairings that you'll hear the same question. So I set myself up with that beforehand, but it wasn't until the morning of that I found out about the most exciting interview op. And that one, I had so many questions. Yeah, it was the easiest to come up with. And even with a 2-hour window of notice, I was like writing things down and stuff like that. So
fantastic, man. Well, listen, who did you get a chance to go all the way to LA to chat with from Rebel Moon?
Well, the pairings that I referred to are all the cast. So I was fortunate enough to sit down with Sofia Boutella, who plays Cora, Ed Skrein, who plays Atticus Noble, the villain of this movie. I also had the chance to sit down with Djimon Hounsou, who plays Titus. Fantastic character. I also chatted with Staz Nair, who plays Tarek. And then I talked to Ray Fisher, who plays Darian. And then I also talked to Cleopatra Coleman, who plays Devra, Darian's sister. And then finally, Duffy, who plays Milas. The reason why the three of them are paired together is because they're part of a group in this movie called the Blood Axis, and they're super integral to the
they're
to
like
the story.
The rebels.
Yeah, they're sort of the beginning of that rebel concept. Yeah, exactly. And it was really great. Like it made sense, all these pairings, which we'll talk about after we get through the interviews. But the addition that I was referring to is with director, cinematographer, writer, producer of Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder. This was like, again, like I said, I wanted to come in with the actors with questions that I could ask across the board that they could really chew on. And they gave me some really great responses, as you'll hear. And for Zack Snyder, it was just, I had endless amounts of questions. Like 5 minutes was not enough time. I could have gone for 10 minutes. But I am extremely grateful for this opportunity. So a huge thanks to our friends at Netflix Canada, the opportunity to be invited to this event, to experience this event in person, to experience everything, and to even just go through the motions of doing this junket. It is an experience that is like top of my list that I will ever forever cherish, and really does rank as like one of the top experiences that Geekcentric has been a part of. And hopefully there's more. I'm going to put it out there. We sort of manifested this experience. I'm really hoping there's more opportunities in the future.
I think there will be, and I'm personally, Justin, I'm super proud of you that you're able to hold down the fort. You're able to represent Geekcentric in LA, and you should be proud. I think I enjoyed these interviews, and I think everyone listening is going to enjoy these interviews. So, without further ado, please enjoy our interviews with director Zack Snyder and the cast of Rebel Moon Part 1: A Child of Fire.
First up is my interview with Ray Fisher, Cleopatra Coleman, and E. Duffy. Enjoy. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Awesome. I'm doing fantastic. As I mentioned, I'm here talking with you fine folks, and I am so grateful for you guys to join us on the Geekcentric podcast. One of the standouts from this movie, because I was fortunate enough to see the film last night at the premiere, saw all your faces there. It was great. Awesome. The performances are outstanding. You guys just absolutely killed it. There's just such a commitment and honesty to these performances. I wanted to know, when you're reading these words in the script and you're just sort of translating them into the characters, how do you connect with these characters? How do you find a way to connect them, to bring them to life? Ray, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, you said it. It's all in the script, right? I think it's all in the words. I think Zach, Kurt, and Shay did a phenomenal job in fleshing out these characters, and there's a lot of supplemental conversation that was had with Zach and the crew to really get a sense as to who these characters are and what world they're living in specifically within this universe, because we have so much diversity between all the different planets and all the different factions and different groups of people. It was awesome being able to dig into it and figure out how the Blood Axes were different from everyone else that we encounter in the film up until that point.
Yeah, there's such a unity between you guys. Cleo, how about for yourself?
Yeah, well, I think approaching any character, some are easier to get into than others, and I think Devra for me was one of the easier ones that I've had to sort of get into her psychology and understand like what her MO is, what she wants, and how she goes about getting what she wants.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the characters were so fully formed on the page, so we were lucky to start there.
Yeah.
And then have Zach, who's been sitting with these characters for so long. It's just like, you can mine him for information at all times. But really just sitting with them, living with them, working out and thinking about them, or talking to each other about them. We had so much time because we had 2 months to prepare for this 153-day shoot.
Wow.
That it came kind of organically and not always explicitly,
Yeah, it feels sort of natural. Again,
Yeah.
that's what just stood out from everyone's performance, is just an honesty. There was a belief there, right? Like, it doesn't feel like anyone's actually like acting, even though it is acting. I just mean that there's a real honest place that these characters are coming from. So
Well, thank you for that.
outstanding.
Thank you.
Okay, like, you guys are obviously Zack Snyder fans. You know his work. He is known for needle drops. Fun question for you guys. If you were to choose a song that would best represent your character, any song, what would it be?
Probably no, not that one. I'll tell you what. Today I would choose The Payback by James Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Cleo, how about for yourself? I know it's a tough question. I thought I'd stump you guys because you guys are such rock stars.
Sitting
So
here going, why can't I think of one single song ever?
It's just too many songs. It's like
absolutely, it's sort of like kind of like thinking of your own theme song, right?
Yeah.
I find like the song that you think best represents your character. You know what? I'll move to the next question because I know I've stumped you.
we gotta save the time.
That's
here.
a first. That's a first for me. I obviously asked you guys, how do you connect with these characters? Is there anything you'll take away from these characters, or that you've learned about yourself through playing these characters in any way?
Yeah, I think Milius gave me an opportunity to find my own inner strength, and that was really such a gift.
Awesome.
Yeah, same. I would say Devra's someone who... She's a lot better at this than I am. She's good at making difficult decisions, even if it's not the most likable decision. I think with age, you get better at that, and I'm like working towards that, but Devra has that locked down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's confident.
Yeah.
Right. She knows her stuff.
Yeah, she doesn't mind if people don't like her. She'll make the right decision.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
And I think for Darian, I think it's definitely something that a relearning or reigniting of a fire, that sort of rebellious spirit, and the idea that by coming together, we can achieve great things and overcome insurmountable odds.
I love that. That's such a great message that I think everyone today in this world could benefit from, is just understanding that we're stronger together than we are divided. And I think that there's just so much reality to a lot of those situations and the situations throughout the story that really do connect back to the real world. So guys, thank you so much. Again, I've said it, guys are rock stars in this movie. I can't wait to see more.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
Next is my interview with Djimon Hounsou and Staz Nair.
It's very nice to meet you and have you on the Geek-Centric podcast. It's awesome to have the opportunity. How are you both doing today?
No, great.
Fantastic.
Great. Yeah, fantastic. We had an amazing opening yesterday. Premiere last night. So, yeah, we're all very excited for it to come out.
Yeah.
The
Well,
21st.
I was there. I was very excited. First time I've ever done something like this. So I was so taken back by the performances throughout this entire movie, and you guys delivered.
Thank you, sir.
You know, Titus is such a almost like a broken hero that
He's
is finding a new path.
That's a great way of saying
Yes.
it. Yeah.
And you're very much finding your path.
Yes.
And I just wanted to know, like, when you're coming up with finding this sort of personality, the soul of these characters, like, how do you connect with these characters to bring them to life? Staz, let's start with you.
We've spoken about this before. I mean, you have to connect to something organic to yourself. You know, you can't be looking outwardly and trying to add pieces onto yourself. It's a case of finding how this drive or this emotion or this feeling, this moment is truthful to you. And if it doesn't feel completely natural, embellishing on the traits that already exist in all of us, and embellishing on those traits that need to be more defined or more refined for the character. This, like you said, both of us are kind of on this path back to redemption, back to heroism, back to and that's a feeling I think every actor has felt, every person who struggled in any occupation, any form of life has felt. The path to, right. You know, and the journey is often the most interesting and the most filled with things to draw from. So, you know, the backstory was so effective that Zack created for us, and the writing was there, and the rest was just connecting to solitude, connecting to the idea that my greatest day is yet to come, even if it feels so dark now. You know, and it's connecting to those ideas and thoughts and how that relates to you.
I have to say that, you know, of course, we're dealing with a sci-fi fantasy world that he's been fantasizing for over 30-some years. And I happened to accidentally meet him early in his career when he was still in film school and taking pictures and, you know, doing...
He was doing a range of things.
He's doing a number of things, and little did I know this man would be creating 300, you know, such an iconic picture called 300, and then later, you know, for me to exist in this concept of his called Rebel Moon. But ultimately, the connection had to come from the organic nature of the story. That in itself, where I could really feel the resonance of the continent of Africa coming off the page, right? So the geopolitical tentacles has been holding that continent back for centuries. Now, you know, came alive in this story, Rebel Moon.
Yeah, you see some real world stories kind of taking place in this fantasy. And what's so beautiful too is you both talked about it, the authenticity, the honesty where you can connect, because then that sincerity comes out in your performances. I asked you guys how you connected with these characters. I'd love to know, on the flip side, what are you taking away from these characters? Have you learned anything about yourself from playing these characters, or discovered something new about yourself?
I talk way too much.
Well,
that's one of the things I've definitely learned. I learned that sometimes it's better to wait, and the answer will come to you into this.
well, I think, you know, with any films you're part of, you know, and certainly as an actor, you are the instrument of interpretation. And so given that, or some part of that story is going to be left in you, and some part of you is going to be left in that story. And
That's a beautiful way to wrap this interview. Thank you both so much for joining. It was an absolute honor to meet you both.
So glad you enjoyed it.
Awesome.
We'll see you at part 2.
Next up is my interview with Sofia Boutella and Ed Skrein.
Such a pleasure to meet you. How are you both doing today?
Great.
Man,
Yeah?
good. I just said to Sophia, you know what? We got to enjoy every moment and every last interview of this, because this is our last day. And even though it's a celebration and a relief, it's also like, you know, it's been lovely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I was fortunate enough to attend the premiere last night. Your performances from both of you were outstanding. Cora is 100% a hero that is a badass that I can just root for. And I gotta say, Ed, Atticus, he's a villain you love to hate so much. How do you go about connecting with the characters to bring them to life? Sophia, why don't we start with you?
How do I go about connecting? I just have to find the elements that I understand, even if I don't agree. But to go by that, I just read the script over and over and over, spend time with it. And with Cora, it was necessary that I spend time in the stunt room with everybody, and I wanted to hold the gun, and I wanted to get to a place of exhaustion.
Yeah.
I needed to work against something. I didn't want things to be too easy. I would do the extra abs, or I just wanted to be in that place. And sometimes when I work against something like that, especially for a character with that kind of depth, with that kind of past, with that amount of trauma, I need to work against something.
Right.
So that was helpful. And also just talking a lot with Zach and exchanging about the intention and where we're coming from when it comes to this character. There's an element in movie number 2 that we will find out that I had a hard time grasping, on, and I just did not know how to go about that one aspect, and it took me a while. It's something that was, to me, I just did not know how a human being could come back from something like that, and I was able to, I think, to come to my senses, and it all made sense, and I understood it, but it took me a while. But you just have to spend time with it, I guess.
Yeah. Live with it, right?
Yeah, live with it, spend time with it.
How about yourself, Ed? Because, again, Atticus is just, you love to hate him. He's so intense, and you have this great scene with Corey that just kind of sets the tone in the movie for the kind of villain that you are. How do you build that character and connect them?
It starts kind of analytically, as soon as you get the screenplay,
right.
Trying to understand what the screenwriter and director, which happens to be the same person, wants you to achieve, to understand what your position is in the story, how you're serving the protagonist and the narrative as a whole. And then, it's always about the help of the crew, so Spider, my stunt double, really helped me inform my physicality, the way I held the staff, and we'd experiment with kind of different rules of how I would walk and what I would do at certain times. And Stephanie, head of costume designer, we would have the most incredible brainstorming sessions, and we were so on the same page. And I look back on those sessions, it's this is what creativity is all about.
Collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration. This scene, I need to have the sleeves rolled up. We got to show this, and the scene before is this, and then for the final battle, and then part 2, there's decisions that we've made, which are just, you're gonna see. And so it becomes informed by all these different stages, and then last but not least, especially with this, it's you have all this stuff in your head conceptually, and then you get opposite. The actors, and it becomes real. It becomes something else. You see choices that they're making, and it kind of changes what you're doing and changes the way you do it. But I suppose I really want to feel informed when I step on set, so that I can just let go and go into flow state and do something different every take, and kind of push the person opposite me, push their buttons as much as possible. Not just for my benefit or for the editor's benefit for my character, but for them to understand what they need from the scene. And if they need their buttons pushed, then,
that's it.
Let's push some buttons.
Well, that's awesome. Again, your performances were outstanding, and they were just so real and authentic, and they came from a really honest place. So that's why I wanted to ask you just how you find that. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the Geek-Centric podcast. It was an absolute honor to meet you guys, and thank you.
Thanks, you.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Now, my last interview is with the visionary director, writer, producer, and cinematographer, Mr. Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, can't believe I'm here sitting with you, talking to you. This is absolutely great.
Awesome.
I want to start by just asking, this movie is massive in scope and scale, and you have great experience with working with massive movies and massive IPs in the past. How did those experiences help inform you taking on Rebel Moon and building something wholly original?
They were absolutely key for me as far as, I guess, even just doing Man of Steel, starting from Watchmen, frankly, or even 300 if you want to go
I would
all
go
the way
as high
back.
there, yeah.
The fact that we have the making of art book for pretty much any movie I've ever made kind of is testament to the amount of world building we've done in the past. And when it came to this, we ended up with 2 making of books because it's so insane. But all of that sort of the normal methodology we use with like the cadence I have with concept artists and the cadence I have with the costume designers and you know, that kind of back and forth, and how I draw and they draw and I draw, and we have a conversation through illustration and photo reference and all sorts of things. That's really like it's a learned skill, but it's also a very real skill. And it's really allowed me to kind of have a shorthand, and also because you need a shorthand when you're doing that much volume.
Absolutely.
You know? So yeah. Thank God I had that training, because it'd be really hard otherwise.
Oh, I can imagine. And I love that you know, in this production, you seem to wear so many different hats. You know, you're writer, you're producer, you're cinematographer, you're director. You know, why was it so important to take on all those roles? And is there any role that you're still learning from, or you find challenging?
Yeah, I feel like, look, the truth is they're all challenging.
Yeah.
Sort of director, cameraman, director, cinematographer as a singular position is I find really interesting. I find them really closely linked, you know, from my point of view.
Right.
And so, but the challenge is, of course, what I like to do is blur the line between the two, and it makes without trying to really separate them. When you really separate them, it's much harder, you know, because you have the responsibilities are really split.
Yes.
But when I really jam them together,
you start to bleed the lines.
Yeah,
right?
and then I'm learning in sort of a new craft to this cameraman, director cameraman sort of position. So yeah, that's challenging still.
I can imagine, and also like just commenting on your camera work, like I've always loved how you can go deep focus, but then you also go really shallow, and you really do love to focus on like the details of every shot. So there's a nice balance between that you see in a movie like this, because there's just such an epic scope to it. You know, this is obviously a big franchise. There's more stories to tell. What are you hoping people will take away from Rebel Moon?
Yeah, I hope that they take away, well, first that they have been enjoyed the experience of watching the movie, but that they are left with some questions that and some hunger to you know, for more. And I think that's really, you know, the best sort of franchisable ideas really are all about that kind of momentum, you know, kind of driving you, satisfying you, but driving you, you know, constantly. And I think that this world really has a great that idea is pretty custom to this to the world that we created here. That you finish the movie but be like ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, I really value the time that I had here to chat with you. I haven't been doing this long, but talking to filmmakers, I have a bucket list, and you are 100% on that list. So today I get to cross that off. So I really appreciate it, Zach. Awesome. Thanks, man.
And we are back. Justin, again, I said before we cut to the interviews, I was super proud of you. I was super impressed with these interviews, with the look of these interviews. This is like
quality.
You looked very dapper. The quality was great. It looked like parts of the set almost you know, while you were there. And you can sort of see within this entire cast sort of I think the concept and the question of, you know, sort of how did you find your character, or you know, what did you take away from your character? You can tell that they are all very personally invested in each of these characters, and I think the thing that sort of hit me the most was just seeing all of their responses. You can tell that they're really thinking. They're really, you know, these aren't canned responses. They were taking the time to actually answer you and think about what they were saying.
And we joked about it on the Percy Jackson interview. You know, you're the fun, lighthearted, good cop. I'm the introspective, like make you think, give you bad cop. To your point of what you mentioned, like I like asking questions that allow for more of a a processed thought to it. And that's what I appreciated from each of their responses, is that they found a way to share how they connected with their characters to bring them to life, because their performances are 100% one of the highlights from this movie.
Mhm.
I think their commitment to their role and understanding their characters shows. Now, when we do our spoiler-free review, I might have more to say about that in relation to the overall story. But that was my angle in terms of approaching these interviews, is to talk about them as these characters, both how they connected and also what they're taking away. And I thought that was just a great strategy to have going into these interviews. And for some of them, I didn't even get to both questions. You know, with Sofia and Ed, they talked so in-depthly about connecting with their characters. But at the end of the day, I think it created a sense of continuity for us to understand their investment and what they really do appreciate from these characters that they've played.
And I mean, if you're listening to this with headphones on, you probably heard it too. Djimon's voice is so deep and booming. Like the moment he starts talking, after he actually got a chance to talk, because as Staz said, he talked way too much.
I appreciate Staz. I think he's just a ball of energy, and he is so excited about this movie. And even as you know, this was held at a hotel. As we were moving through the different junket rooms, you know, you would see him. He said thanks to me. He said thanks to other people. He's just so outgoing, and he's so invested. So I think that ball of energy just, it leaps off of the screen and into your heart. So it's really great.
Well, and I love that, you know, you did try with a fun question and managed to stump Cleo and E, but Ray coming in with the James Brown, I thought was a good answer for his character. So
yeah,
so that's a lot of fun.
I guess that, again, I'll take the win for stumping them, but I appreciated the fact that they at least, you know, took the time to at least try to think about it, but that they were just.
But dude,
I think they were
I've
so
been there.
overwhelmed.
Listen, you know, I've been there before. Cleo, don't feel too bad. You know, I think we've all been in that situation, especially like as I've been playing a lot more board games lately, where it's like, you know, name a color, and you're like, I can't think of any colors. Like,
right,
like,
absolutely.
You know, all the songs just drip from her head when you get sort of put on the spot like that. But I also wanted to shout out, you know, your chat with Sofia and Ed. I think Sofia talking about challenging herself and exerting herself, you can see that in her performance for sure with this movie, and in every sense of the word.
100%. I think that's very much like a mantra to Cora in this film, is that she keeps pushing, she just keeps going. And I think that, you know, that to find that, what's really nice is that this question will give you different responses based on process. You know, some people will say, oh, I looked at the script and that all the details were there, and it was just a matter of, you know, aligning this, what I read, to what, you know, with what Zack had in store and what he anticipated, and kind of finding it that way. I think that the process to which you find these characters that have so much history, have so much lore, and have so much that we as viewers don't know, you know, that has to come from a place. So like with Djimon, I really appreciated how he was able to connect with almost the real qualities of something that connects back to him and his story, and his existence. And I love that still finds that can still find a place in this sci-fi fantasy genre.
And it was great to see, I think both Ed and Sofia sort of commenting, or mostly Ed commenting on the idea that, you know, this is the end for now for them, but it's, you know, they've already filmed both movies, and they brought up part 2 quite a bit in the interview, which was interesting. But I think, you know, them sort of taking the time to reflect on the fact that, like, okay, they're putting this world away for a long time until next year, apparently, when part 2 is going to happen. But I also want to jump in just kind of as we wrap up, talk about obviously the big one, the interview with Zack. If you are listening to this on your podcast service of choice and not watching it on YouTube, go check out the interviews on YouTube. I was telling Justin that this kind of looks like he has his own talk show, because there's like, it's like a full like jib camera, like moving around. Like the production value for this interview is insane.
Oh, the production value was insane. First, the set of it was pretty much ripped from the movie. They had like a sort of volume screen in the background with some props in the foreground, and then 2 chairs and us, and then there was a 3-camera unit where it was on me, on Zach, and then a wide of the two of us that just gently slid back and forth on a track. And it was probably the coolest experience. I did a little color grading to it as well to kind of amp up the sort of the
As
cinematic.
Zach probably would, right?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly my thought process. Thank you, Nate. But yeah, it's definitely an interview for the books. This was my first interview. So this was the obviously the edition, as I mentioned, but this was my first interview of the morning. And I was hoping I would work towards it rather than kicking it off. So I was definitely fanboy. Like you could see, I can't believe I'm sitting across from Zack Snyder. Like I saw Zack the night before. I said, congratulations on the movie, shook his hand. That's about it. And then here I am now talking to him, and I wanted to definitely ask him some questions. And I had tons written. I really, really hope that I can get another opportunity to ask him some more questions. But I'm so grateful for the time that I had with him. As I said, like, I haven't been doing interviews long, been fortunate enough this past year to do a lot. And last year, obviously being the beginning, but this year has been really, really big for Geekcentric in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And to have like a sort of a bucket list, and 100% Zack Snyder is on that list of directors that you'd want to talk to. It's great. Scratch it right off, as he does.
Well, you'll be chatting with him again, I'm sure, for part 2, when that comes around. And I can imagine, I enjoyed sort of the question that you did ask him about sort of tackling multiple roles and the challenges that come along with it. But I thought it was really interesting is learning something new from sort of bringing those experiences, those roles together instead of focusing on them as sort of separate things. And so I thought that was really cool. And I think, it kind of shows and speaks to whenever you hear about like actors in the industry who, they really want to put on different hats, like as a writer or as a director or as a producer. It makes sense. You sort of get that understanding from his answers of sort of like why someone would want to approach it that way. But even more so, the idea that you can learn something different when you hyper focus on putting those roles together is really interesting and really intriguing. And again, it just speaks to, I think, him as a, he is a visionary. You know what I mean? Say what you will about if you love all of his films or not. He is a visionary filmmaker, and it's just cool to sort of. I'm at a loss for words because it's so cool that you got to chat with him.
Yeah, which is why the set was as epic as it was, right? Like it just it fit the profile. So, but yeah, this was a really great time. Again, I can't thank Netflix Canada, and for inviting us. This was such a surreal experience. It moved so quickly, and I'm very grateful that we had the opportunity to do this. Like, humbled.
So good. Well, that is it for this special Behind the Geeks episode for Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire. Again, massive, huge, epic thanks to Netflix, as Justin was saying, and Netflix Canada, Touchwood PR. We're so humbled when we get the opportunity to talk to any of the talented folks who make the things we love. And I cannot wait, and I'm manifesting again. It seems like the powers of manifestation seem to be working for us lately. So I'm going to manifest that one day we will all get the chance here at Geekcentric to travel somewhere for an experience like this one as a Geekcentric group. But again, Justin, before I move on again, I'm just super proud of what you were able to do, what you were able to bring, and I think there's just going to be. We're going to have, I really do think we're going to have more experiences like this in the future, and I can't wait to see what we do. But keep in mind, we also have a ton of other episodes covering our recent releases with spoiler-free reviews for A24 and Elevation Pictures' The Iron Claw. We also have reviews for Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, Leave the World Behind, Hayao Miyazaki's The Boy and the Heron, and Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. We also have some great interviews out now, like our most recent interviews before these ones with the cast of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This was Justin and I. This is our first time getting to do a shared interview where we were both in the room at the same time, and that was a lot of fun, getting to riff and chat with each other as we were chatting with Leah Sava Jeffries, Aryan Simhadri, and Walker Scobell from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. We talked about what they will take away from their characters. We also got to talk about what it was like to work on the volume stage, which I guess, Justin, you've technically sort of almost worked on a volume stage now.
Like half.
It was a half volume? Okay. It was at half volume. And we also asked those lovely folks from Percy Jackson what half of what animal they would like to be. And we got some pretty interesting answers, including Justin's that I thought was pretty cute. So be sure to check out that interview and all of our interviews either here on your podcast service of choice or over on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. As we get to the end of the year, if you can't tell already by listening to this, and if you've gotten all the way to this part of the podcast, we are so happy to be doing what we're doing here on the podcast. And it's a huge part and thanks to our incredible listeners. And, we might have one more episode out or one or two, I'm not sure, before the holidays. But in case you don't hear from us, we here at Geekcentric want to wish everyone listening a very happy holidays, a very happy new year. Stay safe, have a good time with your loved ones and hold them close. We cannot wait for what 2024 has in store. And we hope that you'll join us on that journey together. So continue to tune in and we will see you in the new year. Justin, thank you so much for joining me for this Hollywood-sized Behind the Geeks episode. And as we say, love ya.
Peace.